Ugh.
Go ahead and break the day.
We know one thing. Ain't nobody getting nasty on this motherfucker, boy.
Are you starting today?
Bitch be done broke her knee on here. She trying to ride some dick.
Grief. Why are you... Stop before you break the furniture.
Ain't
Oh,
about to break
God.
that.
Are you starting or am I?
I started.
All right.
Where's my
Check the
camera?
audio. They're both right there. Look at that. Today, maybe?
Oh, now?
Sure.
Hello.
Why?
Welcome to another exciting episode of Fall Through the Stoop. I am your host,
Wow.
Maseratii, and this is our new year. I think our last episode was in 2020.
You think?
This is our edibles. This is 2021, and it's a new year, and it's starting off even more lively than 2020 apparently.
Yeah.
Getting off with a kick.
Yeah.
But we ain't gonna talk about everything that's been happening this past couple of days. We gonna start off with local news and Twisted Tea. Oh, wait a minute, I got a host. I
am here. I almost forgot about my damn self because I was trying to do something on there. Is that how I get introduced in this new year?
Yes, I have a special guest with me today.
Special guest. Okay, my name
Black
on the screen. It say host, but all right.
BLK Pepper Potts will be my special guest today on the
Yes, all right. That's how we gonna do it.
Maseratii show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got other things popping off. Come on, let me have this show.
Oh,
Be my show. What do you mean?
never gonna happen. Well, unfortunately,
Did y'all see that the New Year's Eve thing in Vogue?
No, for this New Year's Eve.
Yeah, they performed. I was looking at this shit
Who
like,
asked En Vogue to perform for a New Year's Eve show in and out 2020?
and it didn't have the one shit.
Oh, you
Wasn't
know
that
what?
Dawn?
Because a lot of the big people, they won't leave, probably. Because of COVID and shit. A lot of people still like...
Some people said it was some, like...
Was it like a
Puerto
virtual?
Rican? No, it was live.
Oh, yeah. A lot of
It
people
was them. It was a Puerto Rican dude that had a pretty big hit, I guess. They said J-Lo had performed, like, earlier in the day. I was like, God damn. And they put, like, 12 people outside for... past the curfew and shit.
Yeah.
But
no, you're talking about a lot of people outside past curfew. That's you thinking of Ohio.
No, in New York they got a.
New York. But see, some states, they straight. It's nothing closed or anything. They still going, and it's interesting that here we close at 10 o'clock in Ohio, and our numbers keep going up. But states like Georgia and shit, they fine.
Somebody said they wish they could have been here. Nigga, you could have been here.
Hey. That was Haybert.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know why.
Haybert, you always welcome. I know what he's talking about. We haven't gotten to Trump yet, Haybert. Don't worry, we gonna get there. I've seen what Haybert has had to say about this. This is the one time me and Haybert agree. It's so beautiful when this happens. It really, really is. But we'll get there.
I think this is probably the one time when Democrats, Republicans, and pretty much most of America is probably agreeing on some shit after this.
Are we?
After this. Most of America is probably agreeing on this shit.
What is everyone in agreement of? What is the agreement?
This nigga Trump done lost his goddamn mind. Even when Twitter kicks you off your shit, the president, they kicked the president off. They banned the president.
Yeah, because he didn't win. Had he won, they wouldn't have.
Nigga, had he won,
I guess he wouldn't have that.
Had he had won, we wouldn't be going through this shit. You think they'll storm the Capitol if the nigga had won? Because that ain't the other side that's going to do no shit like that. We get bombed.
But
we get shot. Ain't no storming the Capitol with us.
Okay, so the other day I posted a picture of the Black Panther Party when they went to the house in Seattle, right? At the Capitol in Seattle. They were on the steps standing there with guns. And everyone was like, oh, that's not the same shit. Da, da, da. Yeah, I know that. But the point is that how I looked at it like how I would feel if I did that thing and everybody was like, what if black people did this? I just wanted to actually acknowledge the fact that someone else did something along those lines. Whenever somebody does something after, it is usually a step further than the person that did it before. That's usually how it goes. They take it to a further extreme. But for me, if I was standing on them steps and everybody was like, well, nobody's done anything like this before. No. Yes, the fuck I did. And yes, the fuck I walked in that building and I said what I had to say. Now, granted, they still did the whole gun control law that they were there for in the first place. But, I mean, the people that were there the other day got the same treatment. The government still did what the fuck they wanted to do at the end of the day. So, to make that comparison and then just see people's reaction to that. I mean, everybody understood what I was saying and I didn't really care. It was kind of like either you got it or you didn't, but I clapped. I thought that was the most beautiful thing I had seen in a long time. Why? Because as much as we know for a fact that the government has done to us as just being black people, to see that happen, what am I about to be mad over?
I mean, if it don't apply, let it fly. It had nothing to do with us. I mean, I think that most black people sitting around, they was pretty much like, all right,
No.
we in for it.
No,
Let's
that's
see
not
what
what
happens.
happened at all, actually.
You don't think so?
I was in a place of, I ain't about to be mad at shit that take place on this day. And I'm not about to find a reason. There were a lot of people with the, if that was us, if that was us. Listen, the definition of insanity is doing the same shit over and over again, right? We know that privilege exists. We understand that. We know that. But I'm not about to be mad if anybody want to go tear their shit up. Go for it.
I just said that. I just said black people wasn't.
Most
of us wasn't.
It became anger because of the privilege. But I fuck all that shit. I'm not about to be mad at that neither. We know that already. Why would I be mad at what we already know? Like I mean, can't.
I don't even. Here's the thing, and I always say this about any situation. You're gonna always have the people that hate speak the loudest. Anytime you talk about anything, you can talk about the greatest thing on earth. The people that hate that is going to be the first ones to stand up and say why they don't like it. The people that don't have a problem, or, you know what I'm saying, like, you're going to be like, well, everybody hates such and such. And you'd be like, no, not really. It's just the fact that the people that liked it or loved it, they just didn't have nothing to say, or they just stood back and let the people that had such strong hate, you know what I'm saying, kick out that hate. The same way we feel like we'll look at someone and be like, man, people, like, all these white people hate blacks. And you got to realize it's not all white people that hate blacks. But the people that really hate blacks, those are the motherfuckers that always got something to say. Always doing the extra shit. Always when George Floyd, or what's his name? What's Floyd's name? The guy that George.
Yeah,
George Floyd.
I know what you're thinking. Go ahead.
George Floyd. They had the little challenge thing where they had all the white dudes kneeling on people's necks and shit. Like, those are the extreme people that we've seen out there. Trust me, I've been in situations where I was stranded somewhere, and white people was the first people to be like, hey, you need a ride somewhere? You need to, you know what I'm saying? You need this, you need that, you know what I'm saying? Like, most white people ain't on that level. They may not be like, hey, yeah, let's put black people on a pedestal, but they ain't sitting up here like, I really, truly hate black people because they're thugs and degenerates. But the people that feel like that, they will always be the first ones to say something. That's why we feel like black people had something to say about this. We had something to say, but we laughed at this shit because we was like, can you believe this shit? Because they marched and they stormed this motherfucker. No type of guns, no type of weapons. It makes a statement.
That's not completely true. They found some stuff. I
mean, they found like Mazel cocktails and shit.
To me, just like to just be there.
But did they like really like set it off? Was it Mazel cocktails?
Okay, now that you said all that, do you think their reason for doing that was racism?
It's a lot. Now, I will say this. I think that most of them were racist, but I feel like the reason that they did it is because when you feel a certain type of way, and I'll say this, people are raised different. Black people are raised different than most white people. White people are taught, you know, here's the law. And even I've had conversations where people say, they try to explain to me something and say, listen, you should be the most angry about this because, you know, the law says this, that, and the third. And then what happens is, you know, what happens if you get pulled over and they want to search your car illegally and this, that, and the third. And I always say, like, hey, I don't know if you understand this, but black people really aren't big on those type of laws because they don't apply. See, the thing is, if I get pulled over and they tell me to get out that car, for whatever reason, if I don't and I get shot, that police officer will still have a job. In a month, he's going to have a job. They're not going to file any type of charges. Even if that body cam shows that they were completely wrong, no matter what, chances are nothing's going to happen. So when all these laws and shit happen, white people are different because they're taught this is the law, this is how things go. Look at how they talk to the police. Hey, buddy, you can't do that. I have laws. Like, they talk crazy. You'll be like, hey, I'm just trying to, you know, my hands is up. What is it, the Michael B. Jordan movie, Fruitville Station? Yeah. Dude had his on the ground, hands behind his back. Cop still let off, shot him in the back. Was he a threat? No. Yeah. But that's how shit happens.
Yeah, and we know that. And so, that was where only place I was coming from as far as I'm not about to find anything other than pure enjoyment out of this. That's how I looked at it. Like, fuck all that other shit. We know. We can say it 100 million more times. Like, we know. I was too busy being happy. I didn't want to be put in a negative place. Looking at somebody terrorize our government, knowing how much shit our government has done to us. Shit in other countries. There are some countries I guarantee you was sitting back laughing at that shit too. Not in a way of America's fucked up, a way of much shit that they had. Well, that's what I'm saying, but it wasn't just that. For them, think of how they were looking at it, that the government is coming fucking up their country. And now somebody running up on their shit? Oh, shit. This is prime time television right now. I can't fathom for a second they were sitting there yelling privilege.
Well, shit. If you were black, I think that you should have sat back and been like, yeah, go ahead. We on the same side now.
I said an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
We on the same side now. You be sitting up there like, oh, march them niggas. That's what we wanted to do when we keep getting injustice. But they won't allow us because they keep shooting our ass and attacking us.
They went and did it, though. But they did that shit, though. You can never take away. They did that shit.
And I still be sitting up here like, you white people, I appreciate y'all for doing that. I appreciate y'all for going in there, running amok, and doing what the fuck y'all want to do. And now, a lot of y'all is about to get fair time. Yeah. So, hey, welcome to being black. That's what happens to us. If we do something fucked up, and then all of a sudden later on, they be like, let them do it. And then they be like, we got away with it. And they be like, no, you didn't. We're going to come and arrest you.
Well, not everyone got away with it. In that moment anyway. Definitely the one veteran was shot, and I'm only gonna speak on the one that I saw the video of. I don't know, like they were trying to come through the door and the officer shot, and she was shot and killed from that.
She shouldn't have been resisting arrest.
Others. Well, then maybe that wasn't hers that I saw.
I don't know. I always like saying
that. You know, shit get tossed around. So
I don't know the situation. I just like saying that.
Right. Even the information out there now, I haven't really looked at, because it takes a minute for sometimes, especially with everything being so chaotic with this, for information to be more to the fact. I guess as good as it's gonna go.
Yeah, man. I'm not racist, but I'm definitely one of those people that I just always come across somebody that's always just. They always find that one thing where, okay, let me put it like this, and I do understand it. You are always going to be biased towards your particular, I want to say, cause. Mm-hmm. So, if little Johnny, a 17-year-old, has an AK-47, crosses state lines and decides to start shooting at a rally or whatever, yeah, if you're white, you're going to try to find some type of bias more than likely towards why he was correct. Just like when something happens to George Floyd, black people are going to find reasons why George Floyd was killed wrong or why he was done wrong. And, other people was like, hey, well, this is what happened. And they're going to find it ain't even good reasons.
Yeah, that was one that everyone pretty much around the world was like, yo, this is fucked up.
Who, George Floyd?
Yeah. Yeah, his was like the one. Notice how I said the one.
I can always tell you. I can tell you everything that said.
You will.
I tell you the shit that people told me.
But I can guarantee you, those that agree what happened or were okay with what happened with Trayvon Martin weren't even okay with what happened with George Floyd. I can guarantee you that. Because even with that, we saw like people actually react.
But they had the
same around the world though.
But you know what? I don't. And yeah, they did, but. With the media is so... Yeah. So, my thing is this. When I say a bias, I'm saying like, when Trayvon Martin happened, the thing people kept saying was he was getting Skittles and a Arizona iced tea. And they was like, well, what happens is the kids they get lean, and then they put the Skittles in there, and then they mix the lean with
they went all on him. They tried to say he had THC in the system that he was high and all.
That's what they said about George Floyd.
Yeah.
So they find a bias, a reason to say, hey, it wasn't just such and such. You know what I'm saying? They're finding a reason to say it wasn't just all wrong. He was a little wrong in what he did, but
that's another thing that we are always like this about. We are always saying that. We put it in movies. We put it in music. We are now constantly saying it over and over again, so much more now because of social media. And maybe that's a part of the reason why I've been more frustrated with it now, because it becomes so much more repetitive. It's not just having a conversation, with just one-on-one with a couple people or whatever. It's every time now you have to see it over and over and over and over. And I'm just tired. I am really just fucking tired of talking about it, because it's like, okay, at what point do you stop talking about it and there's actual action and something put in place to change? Fuck this election, please do not say it. We're not even going to rely on someone else, because yet again we put them in a position of power thinking that they're going to do everything to benefit us. We had a black president and it didn't quite work out the way we wanted to. We don't have to go into all the details and the house and all that shit, but the fact is he existed. And it happened. It finally fucking happened. So I'm not going to put my faith in any more government officials to make it better for us in a way that a lot of people are doing yet again with the election, and having Biden and Harris as the winners of that. I think it's way too much faith put into that.
I think it's way too much faith being put into how easily it is to manipulate people. Because no one ever...
It's so easy.
No one ever sits people down and be like, hey, you know what? Y'all are deleting people off of fucking a Trump election and whether or not he was cheated and right or wrong. I was like, understand this. The presidential election is way up here. Everything that you're fighting for and everything that you're complaining about is here. Yeah. All those other people that you see, because the president is up here, first thing, who you want to vote for. Now, here comes the important part. Judge such and such versus judge such and such. You don't know either one of these judges, but one of these motherfuckers has been sending black folks, to jail for, 10 years plus for minor crimes.
Yo. Why is it all of a sudden everyone was so for Harris? Because when you flash back to like damn near exactly this time last year, she was running for president. No one wanted any parts of her. She dropped out. She had no chance of winning. Suddenly, she comes back under Biden, and now she's just... like, I don't understand what the fuck happened. What made everyone change their mind? Is it because you have no other option? Yeah. Is that just... Shit, you got me.
You gotta listen, let me tell you something. I've seen people honestly say, I wish there was another option besides Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And I was like, there was other people on that.
True.
But we didn't sit back and be like, hey, what is this other person talking about down here? Like, let's put social media away for a second and let's
that's the manipulation and how easy it is.
Yeah, like there was other options. Y'all didn't know there was other, but we don't know what they're talking about. We didn't know what their stance was because they didn't get put on no type of pedestal.
But that's not so much of it's our fault for not doing the research. We lack communication amongst us as a community to spread word like that. So to back Harris and Biden was simply because if you tried to back anyone else, they wouldn't have had enough votes. You really could have just split the fucking vote up and then Trump wins anyway. So,
but if we had said, listen, let's hear what everybody is talking about, because
that's the problem. Because it's all about this. So whoever has the most of this is that's all you're gonna hear. That's it.
That's not, you know what I'm saying? Like
that's how it goes.
That's how it goes. But we still have to have some type of responsibility and accountability for saying, what is these other people talking about? What if I ran for president and I was like, listen, what if I was like, I have a plan that we can eliminate of student loans. I have a plan of where we can eliminate of this. I have a plan of where, here's somebody that came through and they saying that they know, something about the coronavirus, and I want to put money into that and figure out something because they said they know the cure for the coronavirus. Mm-hmm. If I said that, but guess what? I don't have multi-millions of dollars, and I'm not a politician with a whole bunch of politician friends and millionaire friends that's going to put money behind me. So therefore, you're not going to vote for me because you don't know that I have all these things to
because
say.
you don't have
know.
the money behind you.
That's what I just said. I don't have that money behind me.
At the end of the day, it's purchased.
And we need to be accountable for getting out here and learning what these other people have to say, because you can't say, well, we only had 2 choices. You had like 3 or 4 choices. You didn't know what the other people was talking about. We didn't do no, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to take that upon us. It's not our fault that we only voted for these 2 motherfuckers, and then we say, well, we don't want Trump to win, so we have to vote for this person because they're the other, you know what I'm saying, main candidate.
Fault, if you voted for either one of them.
I mean, because you don't want Trump to win.
Right, but okay. So what you allow is what will continue. The fact that we keep allowing this to be the same system and how this shit works is where I say that's on us.
Listen.
That's our fault. We allow it to be that way.
We just have to become more educated as far as what it is that we're trying to get accomplished and who's going to do it. Y'all talking about presidential this, presidential that. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I've been alive through, an adult through what?
Clinton. Decades.
Yeah, Clinton, Bush. At no point in time have I ever looked and said, man, me voting for this president has really fucked up what it is that I was trying to do. They really haven't affected too much of anything that has happened. But you know what did affect it? When I looked at that ballot and I saw that nobody was running up against a judge named Margaret Russo, who is the person that saw me at 24 with nothing on my record and said, I'm gonna give him a felony for a car accident. You have to understand that is somebody that is just out here and saw somebody and was like, he should get a felony for a car accident. There are people out here who have had DUI after DUI after DUI, gotten in a car accident and have killed somebody. And I guarantee you, they may have a felony, but they probably got misdemeanors and and they probably got some jail time here and there. But for somebody that had a first offense, not drugs, no alcohol involved, but she's unopposed. So guess what? Since whenever it is she got appointed, I guarantee you, niggas been getting lynched because I almost got 6 months for this shit, and I'm like, there's nothing on my record. And I have a job with the city, and you gave me a felony.
And you are right. And what I was gonna say to that before this popped in my head was, I noticed a lot more people saying things like that. Like, you know, we have to look more at the local level. To what you were saying as far as no one being opposed when they run. What happens with that also is they just move higher and higher up. Whatever's the next position. Oh, okay. Now, but because part of the problem is when it comes to government officials, we never really look at it in a way of it's their career. So when you view it in that way, they're going to do whatever it is they need to do to keep their career going. It's not just about them being government officials. I'm pretty sure gone are the days, and who knows how they really existed, when people were really out for the people, when they really wanted to be there for the people and work for the people. Now it's just some shit they tell us.
Because the people that's actually out there for the people, we don't never vote for. We don't never put them in those positions. True. It's no different than when you see everybody. Okay, you go on social media right now, no matter what the fuck people tell you, no matter what they say. Go to somebody that's telling something, that's saying something positive and saying, listen, here's what it is. I do this, I do that, I work here, I come home, I do this. There's no problems with what that person is doing. They can get on there and say, hey, how's everybody doing? 15 likes. You find a drug dealer that is popular in the city and has videos of throwing money. He's in Miami throwing money. He's got all on Gucci belts and shit like that. That nigga says good morning, and it's 200 likes, 300 people saying good morning back to him, and you have to ask yourself, that person has spent all that money, has done zero for their community or any other community, but you know for a fact they probably have $1 million or close to $1 million. Mm-hmm. They haven't done a thing. You can't talk to anybody around them and say, well, they helped me get a daycare. Well, this person helped me do such and such. Or this person, they put the money behind me so I could start this, and then I had the money to do this. And like I've never met anybody, and that goes for the biggest. That goes for the Frank Lucases and the Nicky Bar. Like, you don't know nobody that's sitting back on the Kennedy shit. What did the Kennedy do? Daddy Kennedy. We know what he did is illegal. It's like fucking Frank Lucas sitting back saying, well, here's what I did. I put my kids through school, the best schools there were, with drug money, with heroin money. And then I sat up here with my political connects with the Italians, and I did such and such, and then I did this, and then I got them to be mayor or some shit like that. Yeah. We don't have the black version of that. The Kennedys did. Like, he was like, here's what I'm going to do. And he used his connections with the mob, who he was in business with, for the bootlegging. And he was like, here, I'm going to do this. Here, I'm going to do this. So both of his sons is now in politics. And now both of like the most pop. And the son was doing.
That's what happens when you know the law, too.
I mean, shit. The son was doing shit for black people. He was doing more than anybody else was at that time. And you see how they treated him? Well, I ain't gonna get into why they shot him.
Yeah.
But my thing is, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these people was out here doing all of this shit, and we never praise the right people. We always praise the motherfuckers that the media tells us to praise. The media tells us, praise the nigga with money. Praise the nigga making money.
What does that tell you about the consumer, though? Because I get what you're saying of what they, constantly shovel out there, but someone's taking it in. Like, if you had no audience, there's nothing to.
I mean, shit. What do you want us to do? Like,
so, like what you were saying, is that what people really want to see, though? I know part of it, especially depending on your income level, you live in vicariously through this person, but is that what people really want? That's what gets consumed.
That's what they want, yeah. That is what they want. You know what? And it's a whole lot of different things I can get into with that. But yeah, that is what people want. That is what they look at, because sometimes we just have this mentality of we want, you know what I'm saying? Like, we want everything, but we want it given to us, and we want it handed to us. We don't really want to do too much. And we want to sit back and you see somebody else doing everything, like, man, if I had that type of money, I would do this and I do that. And then you see him doing everything, and then you just, oh yeah, this, that, and the third, and he the realest, and he this and he that. I'm like, what makes him the realest? What makes him real? What has he done real? What?
Because that person is doing what they want. And what
because
they can.
People are easily manipulated by the fucking media. And that's social media, that's music, that's anything else.
So, what is the cause? Why are people wired to be so easily manipulated?
Man, because we just moved. The thing is this.
I feel like just an interview.
All right. So, back in the early 90s or whatever, our music was different. Now, I ain't gonna say everybody was different, but it was just different. You had poor righteous teachers. You had people that was really kicking knowledge, and they was out there. They was on BT, and they was on MTV, and they had music videos, and if you talk to somebody that's like 45, they'll tell you, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you'll say, you 45, you're 50. Who's your favorite rapper? They're gonna say Rakim. They're not gonna say Jay-Z.
Yeah.
They're not gonna say Nas. I ain't gonna say, they may say Nas.
Yeah.
They may say Nas. Nas came out like 94 or something, 93 or something. But Rakim is the main choice for dudes that's 45, 50. They grew up in that era because those dudes was really saying something. They was really kicking knowledge, and they made it popular. Like, when I was growing up, my uncle, he wasn't no nerd type dude. He did everything. Football, basketball, popular with the girls. He was still like, hey, look, this is a book by such and such. I think it was a Medgar Evers book. And I was probably like 12 years old, and dude had a Medgar Evers book. He was like, you should read this book, this, that. Like, he was encouraging me to do this shit. I promise you that all of these people that's on social media going back and forth and trying to argue with everybody cannot name a Medgar Evers book. They can't name the Malcolm X books. They can't name these books, or they can't name.
It's about though.
You can even go on Amazon and listen to the shit, and somebody will read the book to you.
You mean audiobook?
Audiobook. Any type of knowledge that we are able to gain, our knowledge all comes from how people tell you to get your knowledge. So now all of our knowledge comes from YouTube. It comes from what a meme said. And people will post up something on a meme and be like, this is facts. And you be like, okay, So show me where the fact is, or show me, well, you can't trust Google. I'm like, it's a meme. You trusting a meme, but you don't trust Google? How the fuck does that happen? I'm like, somebody said, how made that?
Because people that are in, like, they consider the woke community, I'm telling you how it started. They would say they only get their information from Google and YouTube. So Google, and it being this amazing search engine that it is, became a joke. So now when you say things like that, it's automatically, well, you didn't actually do any research. That's bullshit.
I mean, even if they feel that way, I feel like don't just.
I mean, if you know, you know. Like, if you know you right, then you're not gonna care if somebody sit there and tell you your research is wrong. If I care you about to tell me I'm wrong when I did this research and found this to be true.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something that frustrated me before. Uh-oh. I had a conversation.
I've never seen you frustrated.
It was so frustrating because it was like 4 people on here going against me on this, and nobody would back me up. And I felt like the fact
you felt like they was right because they were getting backed up, and you were. I hate that shit. I hate when people think they right because somebody clicks a few likes or some shit on their comment.
All right, so
you still wrong. Somebody else just wrong with you.
Yeah, so all right, so let me break this down, people, real quick. All right, so back in the 1700s, there was 2 guys. One was a white guy, John Hanson. One was a black guy, John Hanson. Uh-huh. They came maybe 80 years apart. The white John Hanson is the guy that was elected when there was 13 colonies.
I know what you're saying.
And it was the presidential whatever. That was a white guy. Now, somewhere along the line, somebody thought it was funny to say that the John Hanson that came along 80 years after, and he was from like Trinidad or something, came along and they said this was the guy that was the president.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, I was like, let's stop and think for a second. I was like, I know what you're trying to say, but here's my problem. I said, you're talking about 13 colonies and there's nothing but white people that's colonists. And you're telling me that they stood around and said, let's vote the black guy in the 17 fucking hundreds.
Okay. So,
nigga, we weren't even allowed to read.
Where I can tell you people thought that to be true because of what they say about the people that were here before. Because of what people say that not everyone, every black person that was here was a slave. My issue is people don't know Photoshop when they see it. That's what the fuck I hate. I've seen so many different things, and if you just look at it, like, this shit is fake as fuck, right? But yeah, people be like mad or making fun of someone, like, the shit real. I'm like, you the joke. Actuality for believing this shit. And the shit ain't even real.
They had a picture like this is a picture of it. I said, when was cameras invented? How the fuck they got a picture of a nigga when the cameras wasn't invented?
Stop. But that's why people found that part to be true. That's what happened with that. That much I can tell you, but
I don't give a damn about a picture.
Maybe because I do like video editing and shit, like I spot like fake shit a lot faster or something than other people. I don't fucking know, but
I'm just here to say common sense, people. Just think common sense. If we were in a position where if you knew how to read, you would get lynched or killed, and now you're telling me that only a couple years prior, they made this man the top nigga to make all the decisions?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
In the 1700s. Come on, people.
Like, I can't, like I said, because I know just where people would have and why they would have, that one,
No.
Maybe they just wanted some hope,
No. No. It was the seven, like, and I do agree.
Oh my gosh,
there were
so far off topic.
Listen, and I do agree. There were black people that weren't slaves because I have a friend.
Came over here themselves.
Yeah, my friend.
You want to believe that they came over here?
My friend will tell you. She will say, like, listen, I'm not proud of it, but my family was free and they owned black slaves. And she'll tell you, she'll be like, that's what it was. She was like, I don't tell people because it creates a thing where they feel like I did it. And I'm like, I understand because people are stupid.
My family kind of has some bullshit going too. So my mother's side of the family, they are very, very light skinned. Like, very. And my grandfather, he thought it was this amazing thing that he could pass for being white. And his father did minstrel shows. Do you know what those are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Y'all can't see it, but it's a little black baby eating watermelon on the wall
and
from Spike Lee
behind us. Yeah, but and I've now said it on the show.
And I didn't even notice it was cotton at the bottom. I never paid attention it was cotton at the bottom.
I didn't see that either. Because I tried not to talk about this photo, but it's crazy I got brought up anyway. But yeah, I don't particularly, go around.
Yeah, everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything in our history isn't, you know what I'm saying?
Nobody has perfect history. I mean, even for us, being black over, we did some bullshit,
Yeah, because people don't want to, everybody wants to believe that their family all did the same shit. They was all in Africa. They were all kings.
Like it was utopia over that bitch. Everything was perfect. Wasn't no wars happening.
Yeah.
No rapes was happening. Like none of that shit was going down.
Do y'all remember Do y'all remember the story of Shaka Zulu?
Now, what I will say is
Shaka Zulu was a killing ass nigga.
Right, but that's what I was gonna say. I will say something more evil. Definitely came into the picture at some point, but yeah, we were by no means perfect.
Yeah, we wasn't perfect, and keep in mind, and y'all don't want to hear it, and I know y'all hate hearing this part, but them fat European motherfuckers wasn't catching people that was out here living on the land and doing all that shit on their own. They had rivals. They had ops, just like we got ops now. Somebody came along.
Are we gonna go there?
Yeah.
So do you believe that? Fuck it, because we off the whole Trump subject that we supposed to have. Do you believe that we were here or we got brought over here?
I think that some people were over here, but the majority of us was brought over here through slave trades. Here, different islands and shit, because a lot of times we don't talk about like the islands that a lot of these slaves ended on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we do. I think we kind of have the.
In our minds, all the slaves ended up coming from
When
Europe
I say
and came to America and started picking cotton.
We say friendless, so that's probably it. Okay, so I actually was having this discussion somewhat with a group of people a couple weeks ago, and what I immediately pointed out was, where are the ships? If we were actually being brought over here to the amount of people that they claim was coming over here like that, no ships. No ships to museums. There's nothing.
I mean, see, my thing is this. I think that...
And that's just point one. I got a whole nother thing to go.
Yeah, my thing is this. I always look at it like, it's a lot of things that happen that we just choose to be like, yeah, that happened, but let's not. Like, if there were ships that they could put in a museum.
They have statues of generals.
They do, but
they put up one hell of a fucking fight for last year not to be knocked down. Do you think no oars, no boards, no broken pieces, nothing?
Listen, for the way that slavery was done, you would literally have fucking 100 motherfucking museums just filled with like just. This is how we got our slave. Like, this is all the shit that we used to get slaves. These are the ships we used. Yes. This is how we killed them. Like,
that would have been one of the things we would have been yelling to have closed down last year.
Yeah, so I'm like, the ships, they probably just got rid of the ships. Like, we're not going to put these ships in museums and shit.
No, they didn't. Okay, so that was part one, right? Part two, why would you kill the people that were already here, go all the way to fuck over there just to bring them back and enslave them when you could have just enslaved the people that were already here?
You talking about the blacks?
I'm talking about the native. I hate calling them American because what was I watching? Was it George Carlin? I don't fucking remember. But he was like, when you think about it, it's kind of fucked up that we gave them a name and part of their name is, because of the land we stole from. But anyway, I'm talking about why kill the Native Americans here? Right?
Yeah.
Go all the way over to Africa, bring them back when you could have just enslaved the people that were already here versus kill them all.
Well, the thing is, you have to realize that the whole slave trade thing was pretty much like, you're here in Europe and you're going to go to Africa and trade for whatever it is they were trading for. And they was like, all right, well, here, you can have some, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure it started off being indentured servants and slaves that were already in Africa. And they were saying, like, here's the things that we're trading for. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things that we're trading for. And of course, like anything else, people just got greedy and they was like, these motherfuckers, they're like, we can take advantage of these motherfuckers. Like, we can just go over there and do such and such. And then you work with this, you got a tribe here, you work with this tribe, and we're going to go and get this tribe. So we can snatch them up and get them, and then we're going to give you a couple, whatever it is that you want. But we get a whole bunch of slaves. And so you're pretty much getting all of these slaves is going to work for pretty much nothing. And that's pretty much what happened, because eventually what happened is all the little villages that was helping capture them, they eventually went back and they tried to capture, because they talked about it was a female tribe that was helped, like they were warriors, female warriors that was helping, you know what I'm saying, capture people. And then it was like years later, they came back and tried to capture the female tribe, and the female tribes was warriors. And they was like, they was one of the few that fought these white men off and was able to get away. And
there's two parts to that story. They were also fighting them because they found out what happened to the people that were being taken over there. See, here's the thing. For how I sometimes, when I think about it, I think, of course, a barrier in language and things are lost in translation, because the slave to one person may not mean exactly the same thing to another. So some of the tribes that you were talking about, slave didn't have the same fucking meaning, right? Slave to them meant you worked off time. It didn't mean taking you away forever. It didn't mean prohibiting you from learning. It didn't mean stripping you of your name. It didn't mean stripping you of your culture. Like, all the things, right? So when people found out, like, oh no, wait, you're not doing what we thought you were, this is not what this word meant to us, there were actually some battles fought over that. And I believe that is one of the female tribes that you are talking about.
It probably was, but still at the same time, you looking at people like, you've never seen anybody that, everybody that you seen was colored, they're dark, they're black, they're brown, and you're going to listen or try to do business with somebody else and that looks nothing like you, and they're talking about, oh yeah, we'll slay this, slay that, and then we're going to trade for such and such and such. Like, I understand business is business, and sometimes you do business, but, you know what I'm saying, it was one of the things where they was like, we're doing business, but now we're just going to take it over the edge, and we're going to take it too, and they just took
Somebody
it
always
too
takes
far.
it a step up.
They took it too far. Yeah. Because, I even talk about the fucked up part about America is this. All these people came from Britain, and then they said, we don't want to be under the rule of Britain no more, that we're in America. So we're going to fight, and we're going to tell these people, like, we're not going to be under the rule of Britain anymore because we feel like we're slaves. And then years later, you motherfuckers have fucking slaves.
Well, they had slaves at the time that happened.
And I feel like...
Well, here's the thing, though. You have to understand... First of all, it's so funny when they tell us to go back home, because a lot of times what they fail to tell you is the part that, they family, relatives, I didn't want to say ancestors for some reason, but whatever, they were sitting over here because they were fucking criminals. Like, they didn't actually come over here by choice, I guess you could say, for some of them. So when we see what takes place when you send a bunch of criminals over, what they do, steal your shit. That's actually what happened. But in the time frame you're talking about, they were actually already owning slaves, because slaves were offered to be freed after if they fought in a war. I think for either side. I don't really remember, but yeah.
Indentured servitude.
No, it wasn't indentured servitude. It was, if you fight in this war, when this war is over, I'll set you free.
That's what indentured servitude is. You do work for a certain amount of time and then you get your freedom.
But it's not a certain amount of time, though, I guess.
Yeah, but after you finish doing your job,
indentured service it's almost sound more like
because a slave
killer, and your payment is I set you free.
A slave is somebody that's going to come in, do work that you want them to do, and they're not going to get anything for it or close to nothing for it, and that is for life. Indentured servitude is pretty much like because and it pissed me off when somebody said this, but somebody was talking about white slaves, and they was like, no, they're not white slaves, they're indentured servitude, indentured servants, because they had to work that money off. When they worked and did whatever it is and made the money that they had to make for whoever it was, then they were able to go off and be free. That's what indentured servitude is. I'm going to do X amount of work, or I'm going to make X amount of money, or I'm going to do whatever, and then eventually I get my freedom. So a lot of people were indentured servants, but you know what I'm saying? Like, when we talk about here, we talk about a whole lot of different shit. Like, well, you can talk about the people that was, like, we're going to say Moors. Moors were over here. Moors was in America. It was, okay, we will call it America. Whatever it was, whatever the natives was calling this place that they were already in. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever they were calling it, you know what I'm saying? Like, there were Moors that had made it. That's why we don't even call it Columbus Day no more, because we was like, first off, the nigga didn't come here.
They had it, what you're saying is as though they referred to it all as a whole of America. I'm not sure. Because, a lot of the land was divided up anyway. So, like, California was Califia or something like that. So I don't, that I have to look into that.
We don't even
know.
When you talk about it, you know what? They really don't even mention like the West Coast and California and shit, because we talk so much about the South and the North and the Civil War battles, and I'd be like, shit. Well, where was Wyoming at when?
It was there.
Where? What side was they on?
I mean, nobody's really made a movie about it yet, I guess.
What the fuck were they doing? Like, were they white? Were they black? Were they?
What
was Canada doing? What was Canada looking like?
Yeah, I mean, even what I'm saying is what it was referred to. I have to look that up.
But
I feel like I knew. I just forgot.
And I'm just saying Wyoming because places like Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, we know because there are like that's where if you want to see real natives, that's where you go. North Carolina or North Dakota, South Dakota, those are places that you can go.
Too.
Yeah, like those are places you can really go and see real natives, because we had a thing with Trump where Trump was trying to get some oil up under like some native land, and he was pretty much like, let's kill him. And then everybody was like, no, we can't just go in there and kill him and take the. And then he was like, no, let's kill him. And he didn't say that, but that was the plan. Like they were like. They tried to negotiate and they said no, and then they was like, all right, well, we're going to try to get rid of the natives.
I don't remember enough off the top of my head details to go into what I was thinking, but yeah.
I remember because I used to work for Lincoln Electric, and the thing was, if Trump had went in there and killed those people or did whatever and got that oil, they was like, trust me, we're going to get some overtime. And I'm like, nigga, what? I'm like, y'all are banking on this man taking the goddamn, like, we're not banking on it, but if he does, we're gonna, you know what I'm saying, like Lincoln Elect, because of
that's
the welders.
That's amazing that could even go through your head to think.
Business is business. And when it comes to business.
I ain't wired that good.
Listen.
Grief.
Listen.
No.
I've been in enough situations where I know.
I am lying because of my stocks. I was like, yeah, don't take that vaccine. Do that shit.
Terrible. Business is business though. Like people will kill you over a couple $1 million, a couple $1 billion deal and shit like that. Like it's so much.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, damn.
I mean, business is business.
And that's just him being an employee. So imagine what the employer, owner of Lincoln Electric, is doing. I don't even want
getting them welders ready. We go supply the welders. We had the contracts.
Wow.
Lincoln Electric had the contracts for them welders. So them welders, they, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to get out there and weld, and a lot of those things was like in the field welders. They was like, shit, if they get out there and they got to get all that shit, guess what? We get business, nigga.
Wow.
It's overtime, nigga. You about to see a good 6 figures, 130, 140 this year.
I don't think I can look at it from that point of view of being like an employee. Like I just got to be honest. As the owner of Lincoln Electric, yeah.
I mean,
as the welder.
I think a lot of times, a lot of things happen like that with the companies we work for, and we just don't know in depth as to far as what goes on. Because I'm pretty sure that when they said people have to take this vaccine, I'm pretty sure somebody out there is probably making something simple that they're not even thinking about. They're like, I don't know what's going on, but all of a sudden we getting like 30 hours of overtime per check, and they just loving it, and they're not realizing like, yeah, the only reason you're getting that is because they're making.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole, please. Let's not go down.
Yeah, because Ricky's the one of the people that was in there like, yeah, get it so I can get my stocks up. Congratulations, Ricky.
I don't want to do it.
Congratulations.
I was really perplexed with myself when I started doing the stocks because, like I was saying before, I was able to do it because of the crash. Like, the stocks were so low. I had you cut me off when I was about to mention Hater Far Out. But I had a conversation with Far Out about it because I'm like, I don't know, I just feel kind of weird to, like, if I benefit off a global pandemic, like, that little... Or should I just... I mean, I did it, but that's kind of what went through my head. I was a little scared on that first, I guess.
I mean, people benefit off shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Understand, like, our country is one of the countries where when we are fucked up, we will purposely do something so there's a war, because once there's a war, our economy booms. So if we going downhill and all of a sudden we're like, where we go get some money from? War. And then there's somebody who's like,
money goes to the people that make the ammunition.
I was about to say, and then there's somebody else who's like, you gonna need some ammunition. And somebody like, yeah,
really get paid.
Watch War Dogs, and you can see, like, if you want to see like how much your tax dollars is just getting wasted on bullshit, watch War Dogs and see how much dude was saying like, I live off crumbs, and the crumbs was like $2 million for ammunition. It was like maybe $500,000 worth of ammunition. It was like $2 million we'll give you for the ammunition. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you look at shit like that, you gotta understand something. Like, you can make a lot of money if you are a person that thinks about shit and be like, this is a ruthless game. But it's almost like saying this, like, man, I can invest in this stock as long as people continue to die from the coronavirus for the next 6 months. And you could put money in that, and then somebody be like, that's some ruthless ass shit.
It happened with the senators. I think it was just the senators. Well, I'm sure more government officials than that. But that story had came out, and then I think it kind of went away, as far as I know, where they had the meeting last year to discuss the coronavirus. You know, government officials. I'm pretty sure it was senators. And what they did was, when they found out what was about to happen, these motherfuckers sold their stocks off.
I mean, business is business.
That story just died the fuck off, though. But
business is business. When you get to drop on something, if you got to drop on something like that,
shit.
If you had to drop on something like that, trust me, you'd probably be like, I'm gonna sell my stock. You ain't about to just let it happen, and somebody done told you like, nigga, sell your shit.
But for them though, that was like illegal. Like, they weren't supposed to take information like that.
See, here's my problem. Here's my problem with fucking America too. Like, when Martha Stewart went to prison and I found out like why, I was kind of like, but really, like, somebody gave her an inside tip on some shit and she decided to move on it, so now it's illegal for, like, I would feel so fucking mad if I went to prison because Ricky was like, hey, look, what's about to happen is such and such with this coronavirus and this, you know what I'm saying, the vaccine, this, that, and the third. I'm like, what? And then you know what I'm saying, like, I buy a bunch of this stock and all of a sudden I'm a millionaire. And then they was like, but did Ricky tell you about such and such? I'm like, yeah, Ricky told me that, you know what I'm saying? They like, prison. She just told me some insider information about some shit that's going on.
What it is though, it's called insider information. It's illegal.
Now, I can understand that we go say, hey, listen, I got this company, such and such and such and such, sell your stock because we're about to file bankruptcy. That's different. If, you know what I'm saying, like, they just like, sell all your stock, we're about to go bankrupt. And then I can understand some shit happening. But for somebody to just be like, I know what's about to happen and here's what's going on, and I'm going to tell somebody, and then somebody else goes to prison for utilizing that information, that's crazy to me. But business is business, though, I guess.
It's not crazy because of the crazy things people do with information like that, I guess, is why I don't look at it as crazy. It's gotta be things like that put in place to stop people from being on, like, social. I mean, they're gonna find a way around it because the people that make the laws like that gonna put loopholes in for themselves anyway, for them to do some bullshit. So there's always a loophole in there somewhere, you know. Her jail time, maybe she, you know, could have been there longer or something. I don't fucking know. But
I mean, I'm pretty sure.
That's a long ass time ago.
I mean, understand this. They're gonna punish certain people when it comes to money. Money is a very different type of evil, and I'll try to explain to people, like, money is very, very, it's very evil, and it can bring the worst things out of people. And when you talk about it and you get to a certain level, you understand, like, people will sit back and they'll tell you shit like, hey, listen, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get in trouble for such and such. You're probably gonna have to do like 2 years in prison, and this, that, and the third. Like, Madoff ran off with millions.
You're gonna be
and they let him keep. And the thing is, they told his wife, like, she's only allowed to keep like maybe $5 million and 2 properties. And I'm thinking, like, but he stole all of the money from people and have to pay money back.
That's knowing the law, man, and having the right friends, man, and family and shit.
I'm looking like this is their punishment. She gets to keep $5 million
because of some shit they did for you back in college because you was privileged enough to go to the right college with the right fucking people.
Well, We got to put our.
That's what the fuck happened.
As black people, man, we just got to come together and get a couple people, man, and just start thinking like that.
We
and start doing that for us.
Doing our own right. Thank you. We
gotta
start doing it ourselves and for ourselves, because now that I was watching a Dick Gregory interview earlier, and he pointed out the fact that you do have these amazing and smart children, right? Of black children. And he was comparing them to what the white children have when they go to school. So he was saying, for example, look at how much it costs to get into Howard versus how much it costs to get into MIT. So part of their other privileges, how much they're able to learn throughout all their years of being taught and put into school. So what happened with us last year as far as the schools being shut down and closed was cool, because I felt like it'd get a lot more parents involved in what's going on with their schoolwork. It'll get a lot more parents involved to have time to pay attention to exactly what their kids have been taught. Because for me, I can tell you right now, I didn't get the history lesson in school that I should have been getting. So we have to start doing that shit for ourselves. We need our own schools. It's enough of the want to be included. I think we've had the conversation on this show before saying how segregation really wasn't the best idea, because before segregation we had our own doctors, we had our own teachers, we had our own store owners, we had our own grocery stores and things like that. And now those things are so much harder to find, especially depending on where the fuck you live. Now you live in, I don't know, Atlanta or some shit like that, it's different. But it's so fucking hard for me to find a black doctor.
But you know what? The problem with that is, you have people that was already in power positions. Mm-hmm. They're only going to allow a certain amount of that. Like Black Wall Street happened, and then they was like, all right, Negroes, enough is enough. Yeah. Let's shut this shit down. Like, they're not going to allow you. They're going to allow you to have a black city in town. But they ain't about to just let y'all bubble. Y'all ain't about to have, what is it that all the stars go to, Diddy and them, in New York? What's the real exclusive place? Hamptons. The Hamptons.
Oh, okay.
They ain't gonna have the black Hamptons. They're never gonna allow that shit to happen. Something's gonna happen, and they're gonna, they're gonna shut that shit down. So, understand it's a good theory when we talk about us staying separate and trying to keep our own shit in there. But we can try to do shit like that now and just see how it works out. And like I said before, our mindset has to start changing too, because just like I was like, what if I became president, or what if I became a senator, or what if I became this? A lot of black people gonna be like, nigga, you will never be that. And they'll tell you like, nigga, you will never be that. Like, why? Why is it? Because I guarantee you it's a dude in a trailer park and his mother's like, you can be anything you want to be.
I feel like that comes with knowledge of your generation. So again, within this interview that I was watching earlier with Dick Gregory, he flat out said, my mother was ignorant. But she didn't know any better. She only knew what she knew. In the interview that he was even giving, and the things that he was talking about, and of course who we know him to be anyway, he was like, his mother would have called the police on him for saying things like that. So it's generation based. I think you'd hear a lot less of people telling you that if you were like 21 and maybe a little younger. I think their mindset is different. Well, one, now they've seen it happen. Well, before then, we hadn't actually seen that shit happen. Forget how I feel about it. We hadn't actually seen there be a black president up to that point.
We can take it to this level. All right, so
seeing is believing.
So recently, what happened is this. At my job, you have to have 2 years there before you can apply for a different position. Now, a lot of times you can apply sooner. I applied for a shift supervisor, which is a $50,000 raise that I would get. So my supervisor was the one that was like, I think it's a great idea. White guy, younger, he's like a year or two younger than me. Grew up around black people. He's from Virginia Beach. Rex and Effect shot the video right across the street from his grandparents' restaurant or something.
Story a million times.
Yeah, sure. So white dude, he was, I think it's a great idea. He was like, because the problem is, he was like, the guys that work here, because everybody, machinists, they're all black. And he was like, the thing is, he was like, they feel like they're not going to get these positions, so they don't apply for those positions. So all the black guys are machinists. The supervisors, there's maybe one black supervisor there, one black shift supervisor in all 3 shifts. You have maybe 8 or 9 guys that's above that, that's called a TC, that helps out the guys when their machine goes down. They have to go over there. They make more money than the machinists. They don't apply for these positions because they don't feel like, you know what I'm saying, they are going to get those positions. White guys are not like that. They there for a year and a half. They're applying for shit. They're applying for this, that, and the third. They're trying to move up that ladder. We feel like we're not going to get it, so we don't apply. We like, we black. We not going to get it. They're biased against us. They this, they that. Yeah. And they don't realize it. Yeah. And I'm like, shit.
It's that automatic mindset, too, of thinking that everything is against you. You gotta stop thinking that way, though. I'm not saying it's easy out here being black. What I'm saying is not everything in this world is against you. And if you think that way, that's exactly what the fuck you gonna get on top of that. What you put out is what you gonna get back in. So, and that goes back to me for that whole shit with the capital thing. I wasn't putting that negative energy out there. Fuck that.
I mean, you just have to understand, like, we just have to change our way of thinking, because I always sit back and I say, I see all these guys on social media, they talking about how much money they make, how much this, how much that, and I say, you know what? Everybody out there, anybody out there, if you're selling anything illegal, if you're doing anything illegal, do me a favor. Make sure that you are putting money towards at least 1 or 2 kids getting the best fucking education that they can possibly get. And I mean, put aside $100,000 and just say, put them in school.
Define the best education that they can possibly get.
Make sure that they're...
Are we talking about white school, black school?
We are talking about whatever, like getting them... Okay, let's say, for example, I don't know if it's still true or not, but I think Orange had like the best school system. Mm-hmm. So, take some money, put that parent into a place over there in Orange, and their child now attends Orange, and they're getting the best education within whatever it was, like a 30-mile, 40-mile radius, or whatever the case may have been back when I looked. So, you're putting that child...
Black community? Is Orange a black community?
I don't know. I think it's black people in the community, but I think it's mostly white.
Go ahead.
But what you do is you put them inside of that spectrum to where they're getting that, you know, that's the best educational system. So you're putting a couple parents over there, and you know, you may spend let's say whatever the rent is over there, and $1,000 a month or some shit like that. So you're putting that parent in that position where they're not paying rent, and you know what I'm saying? And $1,000 ain't shit if you're making that type of money. So you're putting a parent in that position where they're taking care of their child is going to the school, and then they go to high school, and again, they're still getting that best education. And then when it's time for them to apply for something, they're smart enough that they can say, all right, well, if you're smart enough to go to Yale, Harvard, or this, that, or the third, and you're able to rub elbows, you can be a little Tyreek St. Patrick. You know what I'm saying? Like, find out how much that is. And then have somebody be like, all right, we're going to make sure that this child is going to go to the school that they want to go to. If you want to go to Harvard, my thing was this. When I became a parent, I always said I didn't want to become a parent. And one of those things is because you have to really be prepared. And people aren't prepared when they have kids. I put myself in a position to where if something happens to me, my son is an automatic fucking millionaire. If I die today, my son is a millionaire. He's going to go to whatever fucking school he wants to go to. And there is no, what if somebody squanders the money? It's under a fucking attorney. There's an entire law firm that is in control of 85% of that money that comes through. So, my son is a millionaire. He's going to go to whatever school. If I still live, my son is still able. And that's why I applied for a job making $50,000 more. Because once my son goes and does this and does that, if he says he wants to go to this school in Padua or some shit like that, or St. Ignatius, he should be able to go, and dad should be able to pay for that shit because dad prepared for his son to be successful. We have to start thinking like this shit. Be prepared for your son. Be prepared for your daughter. Be prepared for your kids to be successful so you can send them to where they want to go to and get that education. Because when they rub elbows with these other kids that aren't racist, they're not racist. They just never been around black people. Now they around black people, like, oh, he cool. I like him. And then when they get to this level, you know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you from somebody that has seen it. I have cousins that's You know what I'm saying? He has white friends, he has black friends, and they all talk about different business ventures and business avenues. The job he has now is because he went to Padua and he rubbed elbows with some kids, and they was like, oh, well, my people own such and such. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of shit we have to get ourselves into.
Okay, so question.
Go.
We had the conversation. We got to make this really short so we got to get out of here.
Okay.
We were just saying, though, separation and doing things for us.
Okay.
Now, I agree with you to help another family out, but the first thing that you were saying, though, was put them in an education system that is not done by us. So how is that separating and doing for us?
You said separating.
Now, that's one.
You the one that was saying separating.
I say it too. Well, if you didn't say it, then
you were saying
mind.
separate, and I was saying, yeah, it was cool to separate, but the problem is they're only going to allow you to.
You were saying yes in agreement of we need to do things for us.
We still can do things for us, but we still to sit back and be like, all right, so we're going to put our kid in a black school system and a black this and a black that. We can try to do that. All right, now go out there and find it. That we still have to set that shit up.
Right.
We still have to set that shit up. Where is the black? Name the black school system.
I mean, outside of where there is
we can send them to an HBU
community that is also, I guess controlled by black people that are doing the right thing. I don't know. Utopia again? I don't fucking know.
All I'm saying is get yourself to a position that you can be a boss. You can own a company and you can do what you want to do. Once you become a boss, guess what? Hire all the blacks you want. But you have to get to that level, and you have these people making all this money, and they're not putting forth the money
there's
to
the
help.
answer to my question.
What?
You take that from what you have gained from being at those schools and being around those people, and you take that back to the black community.
Yeah, you take it to the black community.
But you didn't say it first.
Because we didn't get to that point yet. We were still in college.
Oh.
We still at the college level.
I don't remember where we were because I had to speed this up because we gotta get out of here. Alright, so if you are tuning in on Be Okay Pepper Potts.
I'm Maseratii.
Did I do them out of order? I don't know. If you're tuning in on Monday, you are watching on Facebook at 8:30 on through the Stoop 216.
We didn't talk about the Capitol building.
We did a little bit.
We got off topic. We'll talk about it next time.
We talked about slavery.
We'll wait till the 20th. They're going to rush it again on the 20th, I heard.
Oh, yeah. So. I wanted to make this a part 1 and part 2. I don't know. If you're tuning in on Wednesday on Roku and Grind City Network at 11 p.m., hopefully Farrell will be back with us for the next, 2 weeks from now, sorry. 2 weeks from now because that'll be the first episode of the second season for us. So, no. All right. Again, I'm Be Okay Pepper Potts.
I'm Maseratii.
Thank you.